This morning, the air ambulance left the island with one of the residents bound for medical treatment in New Zealand. According to Director of Health in Maclean, the medical incident happened over the weekend without a surgeon on the island, as the hospital awaits the arrival of one surgeon this Friday. One of the surgeons left the island on Friday, or last Friday, hence the request for the air ambulance to attend to the patient. She said it is unfortunate that the incident happened, as sometimes the hospital does not have the serious types of emergencies for months. One of the other setbacks for the hospital is that the Chief Medical Officer, recently employed by the Niue Public Service Commission, will not be returning to Niue to take on his post because of an unfortunate family crisis. The medical evacuation is the second in 2 weeks for the hospital. Niue is one of the many nations around the globe issuing stamps to commemorate the wedding of Britain's Prince William to Kate Middleton later this month. However, the country's version was proving more attention-grabbing than most. Designed and printed by New Zealand Post, the commemorative stamp is actually a pair, with the prince on one, his bride on the other, and a perforated line down the middle, which means Mr. and Mrs. can be torn apart. On the unusual Niue stamp, the second in line to the throne is also worth $1 more than his bride, with Kate's side worth $2.40, and her husband to be $3.40. The stamp is priced in New Zealand dollars. Editor of Gibbons Stamp Monthly Hugh Jeffreys told British newspaper The Telegraph the stamp was embarrassing and had not been designed well. However, New Zealand Post Stamps and Coins General Manager Ivor Masters told TV3 that the design had been approved by Queen Elizabeth, who is the nation's head of state. Yesterday, young police recruits and senior officers from the Niue Police Force started training on basic but important information with Police Sergeant Justine O'Connell from New Zealand Police. Some of the topics of discussion included the important role police plays in communities and what to expect, as well as public expectations. Sergeant O'Connell said it's important for recruits to understand police operations.
My main role is to provide some guidance and structure and some training for some of the police officers that haven't had any structured training in their time in the police. So from just a grassroots level, some very basic skills and share experiences that I have had, and to find out what their experiences are and how we can actually perhaps develop their level of skill better. I think it's very important, because not only is it important for the community, but it's important potentially for their safety as well, that we learn, or that we, focus on strategies that can keep them safe and keep the community safer as well.
Sergeant O'Connell said she understands different environment of police, but ethics should be still the same.
I think policing all over the world is similar. People are people, and offenders are offenders no matter what nationality they are. I guess the difference here in Niue is the volume of crime is much lower, which is a great thing. So my focus is on sort of more of the basic, the need to know material from a very basic ground sort of level, to ensure that we all understand what the most fundamental aspects of what they need to be doing are.
And for this kind of basic training, how long does it usually take a New Zealand policeman or policewoman to go through?
It's a 19-week course at the police college, and then it's 2 years, generally 2 years after that, once they go to the police station and they do what's called workplace assessment. So they get experience. They have to submit examples of their work through their sergeants, and it has to be to the level of acceptable standard. So it's generally probably nearly 2.5 years.
And now we got what they're expecting from the training, but what about yourself? What are you expecting them to, what are your expectations of the training?
My expectations are that we will share experiences. I want to learn about how policing works on the island, learn more about your culture here, and how both our policing forces can work together for the betterment of the Niue people.
The training is scheduled for 3 weeks. Nominations opened last week for candidates intending to stand in this year's general election. But, according to Justice, this was only for those who were due to depart the island. An official notice for nominations is yet to be announced by the Chief Electoral Officer, and that is expected this week. The island prepares to head to the polls on the 7th of May, leaving many speculating who the potential candidates will be. The final list will remain unknown until the closing of nominations 2 weeks prior to the election date. Last week marked the last Assembly meeting, but the Niue House of Assembly officially dissolves at the end of this week, the 8th of April. In the meantime, the island's affairs will be managed by the caretaker government until a government is elected in May. Swanson's commercial centre convenience store has been sold to Reef shipping agent Falani Mohuia. The recent move also saw a change in the setup of the store for the family. Another change in the Swanson's operations is the departure of shop manager Graham McRae, who is leaving the island this week. Sarah Porter has replaced Graham as manager of Swanson Supermarket. And to end our news bulletin for tonight, Niue Golf and Sports Club had their annual general meeting over the weekend with a new elected committee to continue the club's operations. The new committee for the club, President His Excellency Mark Blumsky, Treasurer Christine Ioane, Secretary Hayden Porter, Golf Captain James Douglas, and Bar Steward Hagan Siosekefu. Congratulations to the new Niue Golf Committee. That's our news bulletin for tonight. Good evening.